Hello, warriors. It's Susie Barolo, and I am a certified life coach, and I coach moms and some lucky dads who want to learn to live a life that they love, whose life might look great on the outside, but they're not feeling so good. And this week is all about the holidays because as I record this, I am sitting in Virginia, the United States, and it is December 11th. I'm going to bet. Probably should have checked, but it's very close to the holiday season. And I hear a lot around us, happy holidays. A lot of people saying it, but I don't see a lot of it reflected back on my peers and the people I see around their faces. I wish that I did, but I know from my personal experience that just because everyone is wishing everyone else happy holidays doesn't mean everyone's actually having those happy holidays. That said, most people do want to be happy. They want to feel content in life, and I am one of those people. They want to feel peace. If you're one of those people, keep reading. I spent years of my life wondering why I wasn't happy. On paper, everything of my life lined up. I had the college degree, the husband, the house, the kids, even the dog. My life looked pretty happy, but inside I was far from happy. In fact, there were many days where I would say I was miserable, stressed, or sad. I would beat myself up and ask why I wasn't happier. What was wrong with me? Didn't I have it all? Wasn't this the life I designed? And if so, then why couldn't I just be happy, damn it? Truthfully? Because I was spending my days and my years doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. I was thinking the same thoughts, expecting something to change. As the wise Wayne Dyer once said, if you want something to change, you must change something. What changed things for me? I'll tell you what, learning that I was not my thoughts. Just because I thought something did not mean it was true. My head might be telling me one thing, but I was in charge of whether I paid attention to it or not. Yeah, thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts are sentences in our head. Things we're telling ourselves that are not necessarily true. Often, they're things that have been told to us in the past, but they are not necessarily true. The average human, if you've been working with me or you've been listening to me at all, I often repeat this fact. The average human has 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Yes, we have 60 to 80,000 sentences running around in our head daily. Imagine if you could see those thoughts. Imagine if each thought was written on a piece of paper. That's a lot of paper. That's a lot of things to pay attention to. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Well, this may help. We actually don't pay attention to 96% of those pieces of paper, and 96% of the thoughts that bounce around in our head every day, we do not pay attention to. Our days are spent doing the same thing that we've done over and over and over again without consciously choosing differently. So, not only do we not read all those scraps of paper, but the scraps of paper we actually do choose to read are usually the same pieces we read yesterday, the day before yesterday, and the day before yesterday. Do you have trouble remembering the differences between December 2014 and December 2016? This is why. You keep choosing the same pieces of paper. It's like you've pushed repeat on life. Sure, your kids continue to grow and your external environment may change. Maybe you go from having one kid, like me, one kid, to having two kids, to having three kids, to having three kids and a dog. But you feel like time has sped up and you're on some crazy loop. You actually are. You're in a rut. Let's wake you up. Here are 3 ways to get you out of your rut. I encourage you to choose one and try it for 3 to 4 weeks. Commit to doing it. Commit to doing one before starting another. Big change starts with small steps. You do not need all 3, just start with one. The first thing you could choose to start is start sitting still to watch your thoughts. Yes, some people may call this meditating, but my experience has been that if I encourage a mom to start meditating, Her eyes glaze over and I can just see myself, see us lose our connection. It's gone. She immediately thinks, did Susie just hear how busy my day is? How much I have going on? How stressed out and miserable I am? What is this woman missing? So instead, I don't really mention meditating. I encourage you to sit and watch your thoughts. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and watch those thoughts. Meditating is not about stopping thinking. As I said, we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Our mind is going to wander. You are not going to be able to spend those 5 minutes focusing the whole time on your breathing. Your brain is going to think one of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts. What I want you to become aware of is what you're thinking. Which pieces of paper are the ones that you're choosing to focus on? Which thoughts are you thinking? What are you telling yourself? Meditating, or sitting still and watching your thoughts, consists of 3 pieces. 1, you focus on something that's not a thought, like your breath is usually the one, or you could focus on a ticking clock or a single sound, like a boom, play a little dong. 2, your mind will wander. So 1, you focus on your breath. 2, your mind wanders. It goes to one of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts. 3 is where the magic happens. You bring your focus back to what you were focusing on. And in this case, we are talking about your breath. The magic happens between steps 2 and 3. That moment when you notice, hey, I'm thinking about what I'm going to get at Target, not my breath, is your magical moment. No drama needed. No beating yourself up and saying, see, I told you I couldn't meditate. That is meditating. Your mind wandering is part of the process. The moment you notice your mind has wandered and has started thinking again, and you bring it back, is the moment the magic happens. That's when your brain does a mental push-up. This is the magic, and this is the beginning of more conscious living. So that's one thing you could start this month. The other thing you could start doing is start telling the truth. Who, you? Yeah, you. How dare I imply you aren't honest all the time? Sorry, but you're not. I know, because I didn't used to be. I still have moments where I'm not, and I try to bring myself back. Think of those times when you agree to do something that you didn't want to do. How about those times when you're asked if you can help with something and you say yes through pursed lips, like this? Yes? Like you're like, hell no, but you say yes. This does not help you or anyone around you. You are not being truthful. You probably say yes in an effort to please people, to make someone else's life easier. This topic itself is huge, and I've written blogs on it, and I will continue to write blogs on the people pleasing and how our not being truthful to the people in our lives does not help us. But for now, think of the cost you pay and those around you pay for not telling the truth. Think of those times when you've said yes to help or to do something that you didn't want to do. How do you act to your spouse or kids when you come home? Saying yes to something you don't want to do has consequences. In addition to you paying the price in fatigue and burnout and probably some bitterness and some resentment, you know who else pays the price? Those sweet people you live with. Your spouse and your kids. Before you say yes to someone you see every now and again, think of why you're putting their needs above the needs of your kids. Think of why you're putting their needs above the needs of your husband or your wife. Think about why you're putting their needs above your needs. Start telling the truth. You can say, that won't work for me. I will not be attending. Say whatever you need to say, but say no. The third thing you can try doing is you can start dumping your brain. Yes, you could call this journaling. However, similar to meditation, when I suggest clients begin journaling, they definitely get that deer in the headlights look again. They think, no, not journaling. Call it what you want. It is the single most helpful tool to feel calmer. No question in my mind. It is the single most powerful tool to managing your mind. It is the best way to understand why you're feeling a certain way. Why? When you sit down to write, when you put pencil to paper, I'm not talking about on the computer, when you actually get one of those writing instruments in your hand and you start writing down, you start seeing in front of you the thoughts, which of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts you're focusing on, which of those are driving your day. Remember how we don't act consciously, we choose to think 96% remember how 96% of the thoughts that we choose, we don't even choose consciously. And then of the other 4%, we just choose the same ones we chose the day before and the day before and the day before. Journaling, or dumping your brain out onto paper, is how you take back control of your days. Plain and simple. When we see which thoughts we're focusing on, we see how those thoughts are influencing us. Try it. Think of what happens when you discover you're consistently thinking, I'm too busy. Or you're consistently telling yourself, I'm disorganized. Or I hate my job. Or my house is a mess. Or my husband never listens to me. Even if you continue to think the exact same thoughts that you're thinking, you see that you're thinking that and you're like, all right, I'm going to continue with it. Being aware of what you're choosing to focus on helps you feel more in control of your life, helps you see that you're choosing to tell yourself you hate your job. You're choosing to repeatedly tell yourself that you're disorganized. You're choosing to tell yourself you're busy. How do you do a brain dump? Okay, 1, set a timer for 5 minutes and answer the question, what am I thinking? Or what am I feeling? 2, you write down everything that comes out. Just write. It does not have to be neat. Resist editing or wondering what anyone else will think if they read it. The goal is to get your thoughts out of your head and down on paper. Write and write without thinking of what you're writing. Who will read it, what your writing means, what it looks like, or anything. Just write. If you find yourself holding back in your writing, maybe you should start with idea 2 here that I had in this blog, which was start telling the truth. If you filter what you're writing to yourself, you are slowing down your progress and growth. You aren't telling yourself the truth. You can write your thoughts down on toilet paper and flush it down the toilet if you're afraid that someone will read it. Write it on paper and burn it. Just write. Stop finding excuses, sit down, and manage your mind. Gift yourself the chance to slow down this year. Choose one of the above actions and start today, please. If you choose number 1 and 3, write it in your schedule and choose the time that you're going to do it. When the time comes, just sit and do it. Sit and meditate or sit and journal. If you choose number 2, please schedule a time at night to pause and think of where you told the truth that day when you were tempted to do otherwise. No matter which action you choose, tell your coach or someone close to you what you're doing. Change happens one small step at a time, and it's easier with an accountability buddy or a coach. You are not here on this earth alone because you are not meant to do this alone. So look around you. Are you here alone? No. So don't try to do it alone. While you are not Superwoman or Superman, you are pretty darn super. Take a step today to let that superness shine through. I believe in you, and I believe in your power to learn how to live a life that you love. I have found it. Okay? I used to be miserable most days. Most days now, I am ecstatic, full of joy. I love my life. Doesn't mean all my days are full of rainbows and daisies. Doesn't mean I don't experience uncomfortable emotions. But overall, I love my life. I want this for you too. Let me help you.